Warriors basking for the second day in a row in the aftermath of their Sunday victory in Dallas. Baron Davis, all these stories coming out. Magic Johnson discovered him at age 15. They're buddies. Don Nelson, of course, is now a genius. One game has shifted the entire momentum Golden State's way.
It'll be a bounce-back game for the Mavericks, and we got a better chance to get hit with lightning than to win the game tomorrow.
Boy, anybody believe Nelson? But I see when you win, you can say anything. Warriors worked out today, and that leads us to our previously mentioned guest. He is the #1 sports personality in the state of Texas. You look at the background of Dale Hansen. He's going 30 years in Dallas, going 30 years strong. He's feuded with Jerry Jones, Mark Cuban, Barry Switzer, and in our increasingly politically correct play-it-safe business, Dale, how have you stayed on top so long? You figured Cuban or Jones at the very least would have bought the station and fired you. Huh?
Well, there's always that possibility, but yeah. I mean, they're pretty easy targets. When you're taking shots at Mark Cuban and Jerry Jones, most people realize I'm right about that. They certainly realize I was right about it when I had the big fight with Barry Switzer a couple of years ago, and I like Don Nelson, and most people do, so I've somehow managed to survive.
Okay, you look all right. Hey, here's the deal on Avery Johnson. The big criticism is that Avery adjusted to Nelson despite having the best record in all of basketball and letting Nelson dictate the terms. You agree with that criticism?
Yeah, I do agree with that criticism, but I do think this. If that was a mistake, and I think it was, that brings the number of mistakes made by Avery Johnson to 2 since he took over as head coach of the Mavericks, and I'm not sure what the other one was. So I do expect him to fix whatever the problem was the other night. And Don Nelson is right. With the weather we've got in Texas tonight, there's a very good chance he's going to get hit by lightning. So we'll see how that plays out. But I like Golden State's team. I like the way Nelson plays basketball, but I like the Mavericks team this year especially a great deal. So I think they'll be okay. But it was a mistake. I really do think it was a mistake to play Nelson's way.
All right, Mark Cuban's been sending out emails saying the reason Don Nelson figures he's owed $6 million is that Nelson went to him and said, I'd like out of my contract, pay me $6 million, and I'll go away quietly. If you don't give me the $6 million and don't let me go, I'm just going to lay here and not try. You believe Cuban?
No, I don't believe much of what Cuban says. I certainly don't believe it when it comes to Don Nelson. And I think it's just typical Cuban. He does like a public fight with a lot of people. I really don't understand why Cuban's so worried about the $6 million. I mean, he spends that much money on a good weekend if he wants to. So, I mean, Cuban has done a lot of good things for this basketball team. He's done a lot of good things for the community, for that matter. But I'm always on Don Nelson's side in almost every argument he's in, and certainly if Mark Cuban's on the other side, then I'm definitely on Don Nelson's side.
Has Cuban ever gotten your face?
Yeah, a couple of times. I did a deal at Halloween a couple of years ago, and I had a picture of Frankenstein, because the only difference between Mark Cuban and Frankenstein, if you look at it, is the bolt in the neck.
Thank you.
And I put the two pictures side by side, and it really wasn't an eerily similar look, and I thought it was pretty funny that Cuban didn't see the humor in it at all.
But he's pretty well received in Dallas, or are people tiring of the act a little bit?
They're getting a little bit tired, but I mean, you know this, Gary. I mean, if a team wins, the owner, the coach, the players, they're great guys. If they lose, then it'll turn. But no, as I said, they were a bad basketball team for a long time, and Don Nelson played a part in getting them better. But Cuban deserves a lot of credit for that. So I mean, but it really is a split, and it shouldn't be that. It should be more than that when you've done as much as Cuban has. But I think a lot of people are getting tired of the act. Not nearly enough, quite honestly, but a lot of people are getting tired of the act.
Well, we have you, Dale. We'd be remiss if we didn't ask you about the former 49er, Terrell Owens. You get along with Owens, and how is he received in Dallas?
No, he can come back to San Francisco and go back to San Francisco anytime he wants. There's not very many people here who are a fan of Terrell Owens and his act. I'm still not convinced that Jerry Jones is going to pay him the money to keep him for another year, but he might. But no, Terrell Owens, you're more than welcome to take him back to San Francisco. In fact, I would buy the ticket if you could arrange it.
What's your problem with him?
Well, I mean, again, first you start off, he's Terrell Owens, for goodness sakes. I mean, he's not the worst guy that I've ever dealt with in this town, and I'm sure you probably you might agree with that. But there's just an aura about him, and there's a certain selfishness about him that just rubs me the wrong way. I mean, it really does.
All right, hey Dale, thanks for a few minutes. I understand you're ready to sign a 6-year contract, a new one.
Yeah, it's all done. It's all done. I'm going to be around for a few more years anyway. And when you mentioned that I used to work with Clarice Tinsley, that was 25 years ago, and I had hair back then, Gary. So she's probably looking at me now and wondering what happened to me.
No. Hey, Dale, keep rolling again. 6 years, Mike, and still big money.
The house payments are going to be paid on time almost every single month. Yeah.
You are the king. You are. Stay out of this market.
It's not San Francisco money. It's not San Francisco money, but what the heck is?
No, cost of living's better though. You can swing back there. You can get 3 houses for what it costs to live here. You know.
Yeah, I've got family that lives in San Francisco, and I think you're pretty close to being right about that.
Yeah.
So you know, I struggle by. It's a little bit above the minimum wage, but that's about all you need.
Fair enough. Hey, keep rolling, Dale, and thanks a lot. All right.
Gary, it's my pleasure. Anytime.
Yeah. No, he said, Pam. Now, see, he's good. That's how it used to be. Now you get nice, young, pleasant guys. Hi, we got to win tomorrow night. It's going to be a good one, and I hope it's good weather. You know, but I mean, right? But this guy's a powerhouse.
I saw some similarities in the two.
What's that? Oh, no, I'm not. He's in the coaches' faces. My thing, I'm not tough enough. You know what? I want to leave the air and have Pam enjoy me, and that's about it. This guy's in people's faces, and he'd eat me up. All right.